Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for attending. This is our Downtown Raleigh Alliance Downtown Rundown. I'm Bill King. I'm our president and CEO here at the Downtown Raleigh Alliance. So we're excited to have you here. This is a virtual meeting. We normally do these in person. It's our second virtual meeting of the year like this. And we look forward to doing these in person soon and excited to do so. Today we're going to cover just a few of the basic topics. We'll be talking about safety. So we have updates here from Raleigh Police in the downtown district. We'll be giving you an update on our ambassador program. We've done a lot of changes there and added a lot of parts to that we're really excited about. We'll have transportation updates. We have Eric Lamb with us from the city of Raleigh. I'll be giving some updates on economic development, storefront economy, and then Kathleen Lewis and our team will be doing marketing and activations. And then we'll do a Q&A. We had quite a few questions submitted ahead of time, so thank you for that. If you want to submit a question, we do have a Q&A box here that you can click. It's down at the bottom, and that's an opportunity for you to submit questions. Well, we'll try to get to those. We had over 30 submitted ahead of time, but we'll take a look at those as well. And if you look on this agenda slide here, you can see for best slide visibility, where you click your view options and then fit to window. So that'll be the best way to view the slides. And there will be quite a few slides as we go through this. So thank you all so much for attending. Drop your questions in the box at the bottom. I'm going to kick it over to Captain Gunner and Sergeant Marks of Raleigh Police for updates on the downtown district. Thank you so much.
Hey, good evening, everybody. My name's Steve Gunner. I'm Downtown District Commander. It's a pleasure to be with all of y'all tonight. Also with us is Sergeant Rich Marks, who's kind of compiles some statistics to share with everyone tonight. And of course, we will be available for questions later on. So with that being said, I'll pass it on to Sergeant Marks to get you guys some information.
Hey there, I hope everyone is doing well and had a great Thanksgiving and is getting ready for the holiday season. Looking at our crime stats, I actually went, usually we go month by month, but I included November and the first 2 weeks in December. And a lot of highlights, no residential break-ins for the downtown Raleigh Alliance service area. That's pretty much the trend. It's rare that we do get a residential break-in, so that's a good thing. We did not have any armed robberies of commercial establishments. And as far as car break-ins, we had 5, and in 4 of the cases, they were unlocked. And I know we preach this citywide and especially in our district to just encourage everyone to lock up all of your cars and your houses and to hide any valuables and to take any valuables with you. And we had 2 motor vehicle thefts, and one of them an arrest was made. I think it was a known suspect from the Holiday Inn parking deck on November 13th. And that person was arrested near the vehicle after they took it. And another case, same date, a car was left running on Hargett Street, and that was taken a block away, but because the key fob was not in the vehicle, it could not be driven any further. And I know in a different part of the city, I did a community meeting, and there were several cars taken, and people had left their key fobs in their vehicle, so they were able to be stolen and driven away, since they in those cases they were running as well. So this time of year, we're all tempted to do it. You know, if you're going to leave it running, have a lookout on your car, but we really don't recommend it. Or, you know, at least I know a lot of cars have the remote start and you can start it up while it's locked and heat it up. So try to do that if that is the case. We had 2 robbery from person cases. One was an attempted on November 1st and Wilmington Street, and a subject's wallet was taken. This was 8 o'clock at night, a little earlier than most of our robberies. Usually they happen later in the night. And in the second case, there was one on November 26th on Davie Street. And in that case, the victim was with people they knew, and he was intoxicated, and a subjects that he thought were his friends took his wallet and phone. So we always preach this: when you're going out, make sure you're with validated friends and with safe people, and don't be out alone, especially if you're drinking. We had 1 commercial break-in that was on Person Street. That was on December 16th. The window was broken out, but that was the only one in the past 6 weeks. So the stats are generally very positive. I was asked to touch on safety in Moore Square Park. We went back and looked at the stats for the year and calls and extra patrols. And off-duty patrols and just patrols by officers, there were over 400. And that's just the ones that we documented. A lot of times people are patrolling there and not even getting out in the system. So that was very positive to see. We are trying to help make that a safe place for everyone to enjoy. And we're working closely with the staff there as well. So if you see anything that you need us to deal with there, please reach out and we will try to address that. And if there is crime there, we're trying to move that to other destinations. I was asked to touch on what are the rules with skateboarding in the city. And skateboarders are, per our city attorney, are kind of like pedestrians. They can't be charged with normal motor vehicle laws if they're on the street. However, if, for instance, they were impeding traffic or violating a crosswalk signal, they could possibly be charged just like a pedestrian. And we do occasionally do those safety projects, and usually it's more educating pedestrians or skateboarders. We do give a lot of warnings. Most of our calls involving skateboarding would involve a city deck where they're trying to find a cool place to skate, but most of our decks are no trespassing if it's a city deck. So as far as bicyclists cannot be in the sidewalk if there's a bike lane. That does not apply to skateboarders. However, like any vehicle on the sidewalk, bikes, skateboarders, pedestrians would generally have the right of way, and a walker would have a right of way versus a runner, for instance. So we really want courtesy to be used. And this question reminded me a lot of the bird scooters that really developed a lot of issues several years ago for us. So we haven't had as many of those calls as of late because I'm not seeing the scooters being used as much, and we don't have quite as many of them. There's only one ordinance regarding skateboarding where it's totally illegal, and that's the Police Memorial Downtown. There are other locations where you can't, there's a sign up at the Exchange Plaza and the Transit Mall, but in those cases, it would be a warning to that person. If they persisted in it, they could be charged with trespassing if we had staff involved, like at the Transit Mall, for instance. And I think that addresses those two questions. I also wanted to touch on, we're doing a lot of, we're downtown, we're continuing to do covert and overt projects for quality of life violations. But in addition to that, we also have an educational component that we've done for some time where we're really reaching out to subjects that just don't know what resources are out there. And we work closely with the social outreach coordinator with the DRA. We also have a detective that's starting to fulfill that role as well for us. And we're passing out supplies to those that don't have good supplies and they're living out in the cold in camps or other places, and really trying to find permanent housing for many of these individuals. So that's, we're not just about enforcement, we're also about trying to help people educate and increase their quality of life. And we had a question about cold weather, so that kind of addresses our outreach. As far as citizen safety, we weren't really sure if this question was addressing, what about as a driver? So with ice and snow season coming, make sure your car's in optimum condition and you have emergency supplies, backup batteries, flashlights, blankets, whatever you might need in case your car breaks down. Also be aware as a pedestrian, if there's snow and ice, a lot of times drivers can't stop very quickly. And I'd be very hesitant when you're stepping out in that crosswalk, even with many of our crosswalks giving the leading indicators. So those are just, I'm not sure if whoever asked that question, if that answers exactly what they wanted, but that concludes my portion of the presentation.
Also, as it relates to safety during the colder weather, also associated with the colder weather months is less daylight. So I'll go back to what Sergeant Mark said about just the good common sense stuff. If you do have to be out in the evening hours and dark, try to practice some good common sense awareness stuff. Have your flashlight, have a cell phone, try to go out in pairs if need be, if you feel unsafe and going by yourself. So just everything that we try to do all year round is just sort of amplified during the winter months where there's so much more darkness compared to light as people are getting out and enjoying downtown. Just practicing just good common sense safety measures will go a long way. And of course, the fail safe is if you see something that doesn't look right, doesn't sound right, you know, that's what we're here for. Get on that cell phone and call us and let us come investigate it and assist anyone who may be in need. So don't ever have the sense of urgency to call and then don't call because you're worried about bothering us. Believe it or not, I hear that quite a bit. That's what we're here for. So if you need us and something doesn't sound right, you call us up and we'll come and investigate whatever it is that is causing some issues.
Okay, thank you so much, Captain Gunner and Sergeant Marks. So they'll be sticking around and will be available for questions here at the end. So if you have additional questions on safety and security downtown, please submit those. I'm going to move over to Kimberly on our team. So Kimberly is going to touch on our downtown ambassadors. And so those work with the Raleigh Police and serve as additional eyes and ears. But we've also increased this patrol, and we've added a social services outreach coordinator as well. So Kimberly, do you mind giving a little bit more background on what we're doing with ambassadors right now?
Oh, yes. Thanks, Bill. I'd be glad to. One of the things that we've done to increase the team is added 4 new ambassadors. We had 12 ambassadors, but now we are up to 16. And that has definitely increased the patrols that we've had in the certain areas like the Fayetteville Street and the Moore Square area. And those areas were those hardest hit by the damage. We're also excited to announce that we've hired a new ambassador program manager, Sergio Urania, and he comes to us from Riverside, California. Sergio has over 6+ years of experience in public safety and clean team programs. He's gotten his experience from the very fast-paced environment in downtown LA, and it wasn't long after he joined our team that he put that know-how to use, and he was instrumental in deploying our ambassadors during the most recent protests. Our ambassadors are comprised of community and outreach ambassadors as well as the safety ambassadors, and our blue shirts are on patrol within the entire downtown district. As Bill mentioned, we have increased patrols again in the Fayetteville Street and the Moore Square area. And the engagement ambassadors, their responsibility is to be visible and available during the peak hours. So when employees are coming to and from work, when people are dining out, when our residents are walking the dog or going for some exercise, our ambassadors want to be visible for them to provide that safety presence. Our ambassadors also serve as a safety function as they strategically circulate within the downtown area. And they're always alert, and they're ready and available to call in the experts such as RPD, EMS, or fire, and any time that there's an emergency. A priority responsibility for our safety ambassadors is to patrol the municipal-owned decks and parking lots. And you might see them out and about. They're either on foot, they ride bikes, and they use segways. And throughout the history of the program, our ambassadors have always been available to provide assistance to those who are in need. They let people know where shelter can be provided, where food is available, and if they need clothing. And fortunately, we've been able to take that assistance to the next level, especially with the hiring of our social service outreach specialist. And that's like the third change significant to the program. In September, we also hired Darlene McLean, and she's a graduate from Shaw University. And her background as a behavioral specialist, as a mobile crisis qualified personnel, and a case manager, she is prepared and equipped to engage our homeless population. In her short time that she's been here, she's provided an informed perspective on the needs of these residents, and she subsequently linked them to the appropriate service providers. During her first 90 days on the job, Darlene established a deep understanding of baseline of the number of homeless on the streets at any given time. And she has familiarized herself with the local service agencies so that she can, again, direct people to the appropriate service provider. She's met and engaged with our partners such as Oak City Cares and Triangle Family Center Services, the Healing Transitions. Those agencies also have an outreach team, so she's working very closely with them. And she has quickly developed relationship with our community members. Her upbeat and outgoing personality has allowed her to gain the trust of the community members, and she is quickly getting them the type of assistance that they need. As you see on the screen here, some of the stats that she's done since she's been here in September. She's conducted 212 wellness checks. She's made 133 shelter referrals. 218 people have been referred for clothing and food. And then she's made 56 medical linkages. Another facet of Darlene's position is completing a vulnerability index assessment that's based on the standardized guidelines to identify the homeless that are at the highest risk if they remain unsheltered. So Darlene is closely working with them to get them the services that they need. And she is well-versed with collaborative care. So partnership with our service organizations is going well. She is well on her way to helping improve the quality of life for those who are in need. And we're excited about her on the team with our new ambassadors and the improvements that all of these are making for our Downtown Ambassador program. Our team is on duty and they are patrolling almost 24/7. So if you ever have a need, please feel free to give them a call. The number at the top of the screen is 919-368-7962. Thanks.
Okay, thank you so much, Kimberly. That was wonderful. Thank you for that update. And as you can hear, we are really excited about making sure that we do have an increased presence in downtown. So we did hire those extra ambassadors, but hiring a social services ambassador with that background in social work is really important to us because we're trying to move the needle. So we're trying to help people find services and find a way so that they can obviously improve themselves and help get folks off the streets, but in a meaningful and helpful way. So been really impressed with Darlene, and we're really excited about those changes. So thank you, Kimberly, for your leadership on that. I'm now going to turn it over to Eric Lamb. Eric Lamb is the Transportation Planning Manager for the City of Raleigh. He is extremely knowledgeable. He's been working for the city for many years, overseeing many of our biggest and best transportation projects. We're fortunate to have him here in the city and with us tonight. So Eric is going to give you a few updates on transportation changes in downtown and upcoming projects. And thank you so much for being with us, Eric, and take it away.
Thanks, Bill. Appreciate it. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you, and I think we're working on getting your slides up. So, and everyone, you know how this is with Zoom, where it always takes a little bit of figuring out.
I got that covered. No worries. All right, I just got a few slides here. I want to show a couple of key things we've got going on in downtown Raleigh right now. So I can do some presentation mode. We'll just go from here. So we've got a number of big things going on, and today has actually been kind of a big news day for us that I'll talk about in just a second. One of the big things we have in progress right now is our development of the Blunt Person Corridor, and this is something that we have been looking at since the original Downtown Livable Streets Plan back in 2013. We have recently completed phase 1 of a multi-stage set of improvements. We did north of Delway, adjacent to Oakwood and Mordecai. We did what we call a road diet, where we took that down from 4 lanes down to 3. That gave us the ability to add bike lanes. The big part in the core of downtown was we had a lot of lane inconsistencies. So places where it was 2 lanes, it was 3 lanes. That led to some inconsistencies with traffic. Sorry, my dog wants to join in here. That's fine. So we went through and restriped the corridor to make it all 2 lanes consistently. That gave us the opportunity to add bike lanes throughout. We saw a nice no degradation in service as a result of that. It really worked out very well. So we're in the process now of doing the phase 2 portion. And that has some significant changes in downtown in terms of changing Blunt and Person Street specifically to 2-way operation. That is not a simple endeavor. We've done a number of the east-west streets previously for 2-way. Obviously, we've done Hargett and Martin. We've done South and Lane streets. and this is what's next on deck. The other thing that we're doing as part of this project, we'll be building a pair of roundabouts, one at the north end at Delway, just north of the Blunt, the Person Street Business District, and then one further up the street at Automotive and in front of the Circus. And that one we have in design right now. But what's interesting is sometimes things come along that you don't normally expect. We did a lot of the corridor planning outreach for this program 2011, 2012, with a multi-year implementation process. Well, then along came the Lake Transit Plan. And that was a great outcome in terms of us modernizing our transit framework for Raleigh, developed the concept of if we weren't going to have light rail, we were at least going to look at developing a bus rapid transit backbone, all of which converges in downtown Raleigh, which is great from a service standpoint, really challenging from an implementation standpoint. The first of those major projects going forward is the New Bern Avenue bus rapid transit project. And so you can see our goal right now is to bring that project in downtown. What we will have dedicated bus lanes along New Bern Avenue and Edenton Street, all the way out to Wake Med Hospital, and then along Blunt and Wilmington. So this section of Blunt overlaps with the Blunt Person Corridor Plan, and so that's created some interesting challenges for us. This was our working framework for what we were looking at doing. You can see with the bike lane and the parking on the left side of the street would be removed, and we would be creating these dedicated bus lanes. There's been some recent talks in the last couple of weeks. We may actually look at shifting this service to the other side of the street, that it makes it easier for buses to make some of the turns in downtown. It's one of the challenges of trying to retrofit downtown Raleigh is it's one of the last colonial cities. It's the framework that we've got to work with as far as the street sections are fairly narrow. So, and they're pretty unforgiving when you're trying to work in an articulated large format bus. So that's one of the design challenges that we're working through with that. And then as we're looking at our planning, there's a lot of considerations for how do we do our next iterations of bus rapid transit. We're working on doing our planning work right now for the Southern line that runs along the Wilmington Street corridor, and also the Western line that runs Western Boulevard. And so how do we integrate all these corridors into downtown? Do we run them all to Go Raleigh Station? Do we split them between Go Raleigh and Raleigh Union Station? Do we do some at one and some at the other? So those are the conversations that are ongoing right now and that we're working out. Speaking of multimodal, we just many of you are familiar with the downtown cycle track project that we just also finished recently along portions of West Street and Harrington Street. That's part of a larger plan for the west side of downtown to create this connection that runs all the way through. We're working right now, if you can see my mouse, but we're working on the extension of West Street underneath the railroad tracks down adjacent to Union Station. And once that happens, we really have a nice big corridor on the entire west side of downtown that opens up and makes these connections between the Dorothea Dix Park, the planned Devereaux Meadow Park, and West Street and Harrington Street are key to that strategy. Let's see, I'm going to try and switch screens now and just show this for a bigger map. That comes through okay? Do you see that?
No, we're still on the downtown planning slide.
All right, so let's see if I can fix that. There we go. How about that?
Yep, we got it.
All right. So everything you see in green is a lot of the bike facilities that we've already installed in downtown Raleigh over the past few years. We've really done a really good job, I think, of growing the network and starting to make linkages happen. There'll be some additional work that happens along New Bern Avenue and Edenton, conceivably as part of the bus rapid transit project. But we just had a suite of projects that were approved by the city council. Our next big trick is to work on extending that work that we did along the West Street and Harrington Street corridor, taking those improvements all the way up to Peace Street. And then a couple things going on. We're looking at how to make those linkages work along Johnson Street to tie back into what we already have along Peace and Clark. The section of Peace between St. Mary's and West Street is really difficult to retrofit, and made especially difficult by the railroad trestle that we have there between Glenwood and West. The other thing that we're working on is to be able to do a cycle track project along West Street north of Peace Street. And this is part of a larger strategy that we have to look at connecting basically from downtown out to 5 Points. If you've been up around the area where we just replaced the Wade Avenue Bridge, there's a new pedestrian pathway that runs underneath that. So we want to link all these improvements together. Cycle track would be on one side of the street, would be a two-way facility. So we're working on doing the early development for that project right now. Bill, I think I heard there was a question about what are we doing to connect from downtown to Dix? And we're actually looking at some frameworks right now for what that might look like. And so the big conversation is how do we connect from North Dix to downtown Raleigh and ultimately create connections all the way over to Chavis Park? And one of the things that we talked to our coworkers in Parks and Recreation and Cultural Resources about how people navigated this area back with the Dreamville Festival. Because remember, if you remember the Dreamville Festival, there was no parking provided for that over on Dix campus. So a lot of people had to walk. And so people letting their feet do the talking. We got a lot of feedback that most folks came and walked down Fayetteville Street, cut across on Lenore, and came down Salisbury Street. So we're going to look at that as a first option to see what kind of pedestrian enhancements can we put in that corridor to create that solid connection to there. Added bonus of linking into the Rocky Branch Trail and Walnut Creek corridor, and then ultimately connecting all the way across into the Greenway corridor for Chavis on the east side of downtown. So now we're getting to this point that what's nice is we started to put enough facilities on the ground that we're starting to see linkages. And so that's our goal, is we want to put facilities together that create these cohesive packages. And the more connections that we make, the more seamlessness that we provide, the more attractive it's going to be for folks to use the system.
Awesome. Eric, thank you so much. That was really helpful, and we appreciate all the images and for you walking us through that. So some cool stuff going downtown. If you don't mind sticking around a few minutes for Q&A, we'd appreciate it. But thank you so much, Eric.
Happy to.
Okay. All right. I think we're going to move on here. So we've got some updates in economic development and marketing that we want to touch on. So I'm going to walk you through some of these. I've got some metrics. We got a lot of questions about sort of how is downtown's economy doing. So I'm going to do my best to outline what that's looking like. And we'll show you also some of the efforts we've made to try to support these businesses through a really tough time. All right, so everything we've done through a frame and a lens of public health. So a few months ago, as we sat down, there were buckets of things we wanted to work on. Safety and security, you've heard about that with the ambassadors. We wanted to make sure that our storefront economy had as much support as we could, so I'll walk you through that. We've done a lot of work in marketing and activations that were safe. But in everything we do, from our communications to our activations to all of our programs, we put public health first. So we put these banners up on Fayetteville Street encouraging mask wearing. We work really hard to, when we've done outdoor activations, we followed all the governor's regulations. We've had ample hand sanitizer stations and encourage social distancing. We require masks. And so we've tried really hard to make sure that. So as you hear about these updates, know that our frame is always public health, because frankly, the fastest way to get downtown back is to get through this moment. Next slide, please. So the plywood boards, I'll just go ahead and touch on these. So I know these are a topic of great interest. At this point, more than 90% of the boards have been removed. We do a weekly audit of the remaining boards in downtown. We've reached out to all the remaining property owners to discuss removal. Now, in some cases, they're still working on repairs, or in some cases, they are doing different repairs. So we have several buildings where there are renovations going on that are a part of the interior renovation that aren't related to damage or anything else. So that is, we are working on that. We're aware of it, and we're trying really hard to make sure that we've got those boards down as soon as possible. We've made an enormous amount of progress, and again, more than 90% of the boards are down. Next slide, please. Okay, I want to walk you through a few metrics here in economic development, and our economic development director, Will Gaskins, has done a tremendous job working on this and guiding us through this. So you can see here the first slide here with the red bars has our food and beverage sales. And yeah, if we can flip view, there we go. So what we have seen is a nice trend where we've seen some increases in sales. Obviously, you can see where we were in the spring. April was a tough month. We were in our lockdown there, understandably. So we've seen an increase since then, and in the fall, have seen some increase from September to October. We saw an almost 20% increase in food and beverage sales. So the data lags a month behind, so it's the latest data we have. We're obviously still not where we need to be, or where we want to be, but obviously we are working through a challenging pandemic, but we have seen some positive trends there. But this also affirms that we need to keep supporting our businesses in a safe way as best we can, because we've got a long way to go before we're all the way back. Next slide, please. So this is our pedestrian counts. We have counters all over downtown. I will say the thing to take away from this is a positive trend of a 70% increase in pedestrian traffic in downtown from July. So that's a good thing, and that shows that that's a good trend, but obviously we still have work to do there as well. Development status. So I do want to give you a quick update on a few of the developments going on downtown. So if you haven't been downtown lately, there are quite a few buildings that have sort of popped out of the ground. So the picture there on the right comes from the 301 Hillsborough Street site, and that's even taller now. That building is almost topped out at 20 stories. So that will be the future home of Pendo. It's on Hillsborough Street, across from the Dawson. Other ones that are under construction, Smoky Hollow Phase 2, which is the development there in Glenwood South. So that includes an office building, 283 residential units and retail right behind where the Publix is. That portion of the development will finish middle of 2021. 301 Hillsborough Street, which you see there, will also be sort of middle to later 2021, more likely fall to winter. So both those will add office as well as residential at Smoky Hollow. And then the Willard, which is a hotel under construction on the southern end of Glenwood South, is humming along. And then you see several other projects that finished. The City Plaza renovation did finish just a few weeks ago. So that repaired a lot of the materials and the joints underneath it, replaced the landscaping, replaced the fountain. And so that will be, that is open, which is great. So Fayetteville Street is back open again, which I think will really help that southern end of Fayetteville Street feel reconnected to downtown. Eric mentioned the north-south bike connector. So that was completed as well this fall. And then we also have Cameron Crest with its residential units completed. And we have several other developments under construction. You may have also seen Seaboard Station. So the clearing has begun over there for a phased development that'll be on that eastern portion of Seaboard Station as well. Next slide, please. So despite all this, we have actually had new businesses open, which is a good thing. So you can see the top of this. You can see where new businesses have recently opened across our districts, which has been good. And so we've got businesses still opening. We still have activity in the storefront level. And then you can see underneath that a list of some of the businesses coming soon as well. So we have a number of restaurants still, as well as we've had a couple of fitness and health and wellness businesses. We do a Fast Med, which is another medical clinic opening on Hargett Street. So we're excited about that. We have seen closures slow. So our sort of, we had an initial wave kind of after COVID restrictions went into place, and a lot of those were frankly, expiring leases or things like that. But we have certainly had, some businesses closed, but we have seen still positive trends here in businesses opening and coming soon, which is a good thing. So we're trying to push through and get through this, and hopefully we'll be able to bounce back soon. And again, we're seeing some trends that show that. Next slide, please. So part of our strategy has also been to activate downtown. So we worked with 2 different pop-ups to bring them to downtown. One of them is a Triangle pop-up. So Triangle pop-up does a lot of events around downtown and around the city. And so that's really a collection of makers. So they have lots of different makers who make jewelry and clothing and home goods and other things like that. They're located on Hargett Street. And then 2 doors down from them, Black Friday Market, which opens tomorrow. We're really, really excited about. Similar type of model. It's a collection of makers and artisans. It is a Black-owned business, which we're really excited about. And we're particularly excited about bringing back to Hargett Street, which is a traditional corridor of African-American business. So this is really cool. And this is part of both activating downtown storefronts, but it's also about improving our diversity downtown, which is something we need to continue to do. So we're excited about both of these. And they adding some, extra vibrancy and pop to downtown through the holidays. So please check those out. in a safe way when you get a chance. So another thing we did to help our storefront economy was the Duke Energy Storefront Revitalization Grant. So we were very fortunate. Duke Energy gave us a very generous grant to help us. And so what we did is we really oriented this in two ways: pivots and repairs. So for pivots, we wanted to fund things that businesses were having to do to survive through this moment that they may not have had to do otherwise, but that will help them get through this moment. So think of takeout windows, outdoor dining, new online websites for selling, things like that. We had some really creative applications. In the first round, we funded 63 downtown Raleigh businesses for more than $288,000. And that was, I think, really helped those businesses get through this moment. And so you're already seeing a lot of those. So if you see a lot of that outdoor dining out on the streets in downtown, or you've been able to shop on an online website, those are some of the types of things we help fund. We also did help fund some repairs from the unrest earlier in the year as well. So this is where we sort of oriented this at. We're fortunate to have funds to be able to do a second round. So our applications closed last week. We've been reviewing applications, and those recipients will be selected by the end of the month. So all told, we hope to be able to help nearly 100 businesses with this grant program and help them in ways and investments that will help them be able to continue and have sales throughout this difficult time. This is just a few pictures of some of the things we help fund. So you can see Read With Me pivoted to offer adult books. They have kids books, the patio at Short Walk Wines, the great outdoor setup at Raleigh Times, Black and White Coffee, which is next to Vidiri, Cirque du Ball. They got new equipment, so they didn't have as much sharing, so they're able to operate safely. And then that really cool Padlet at Garland. So these are just some of the projects we're able to help fund. One great announcement I'm happy to make today. You guys will be some of the first to know the pop-up dog park has returned. So that is an amenity for downtown residents. A few months ago, we asked the City Parks Department, and they were very friendly and helpful, and we're totally on board. And so we had the pop-up dog park earlier this fall, and it's coming back. And we're just really excited about that. It opened today. It is next to the Raleigh Municipal Building at the corner of Dawson and West Morgan Street, across from the Hugh and the Dawson. And so that'll be a really cool activation for all of our dog owners downtown, and we're just happy to bring that back. So that'll be here through the rest of the winter. So I'm going to turn it over to Kathleen Lewis on our team. She's going to walk you through some of our marketing and activations. So obviously, we've worked hard to try to give as much support as we can to our storefront businesses, but we've done a few other things as well on the marketing and activation side to support them. So Kathleen, do you mind taking it away?
Sure. Thanks so much, Bill. So we have worked really hard to focus our marketing on our small businesses, given the challenges this year. A recent program, Reimagine Downtown Raleigh Restaurant Week. So we hosted this in October, different than the August timing, because we spent time working with our downtown restaurants to get feedback and ideas and suggestions from them on how to structure this program. So as Bill mentioned, we led with a message of safety. So we highlighted all the options and ways to support local restaurants during this time. So gift cards, takeout, outdoor dining. So that was a fun campaign, about 10 days. We had 45 restaurants participate. About 12 of those were new to Restaurant Week. So we're really excited about that. It went so well. So we are looking to host, we are planning on hosting another restaurant promotion in February. So stay tuned for more details on that. It will be different than Restaurant Week. It'll have a fun twist to it. So we're excited to share more about that in the new year. Another marketing program that is happening right now is our Shop the Season campaign to support local stores during the holiday season. We've developed this holiday hub, which is a great resource. You can see here on the screen the URL, so I encourage you to go visit that site. There are a lot of great resources on there for the holiday season, including ways to give back, where to order your holiday meal to go from a local restaurant, how to celebrate the holidays, everything from downtown seasonal photo ops to holiday happenings to festive treats you can get, as well as some virtual programs that are pretty cool happening in the next few weeks. Additionally, we have this great online shopping page. So it's a directory of all the stores in downtown where you can order online. And many of those places also offer curbside pickup. So you literally can pull out and they will bring the item to you. So there are a lot of options and ways to support local during this holiday season. So we're trying to communicate that in an easy and navigable way. Lastly, we have a gift guide on our holiday hub that includes these fun videos pulled from our Instagram Live. So I encourage you to check those out either on our Instagram page or on our gift guide. We've featured so far about 12 local businesses where they highlight 3 products they would recommend in their store for holiday gifting. And we've garnered over 22,000 views in just a week and a half on those. So we're really excited about that and the impact it's making for our downtown businesses. So I encourage you to check those out as well. As part of our Downtown Raleigh Restaurant Week, we launched Dine Out Downtown, which was an opportunity for restaurants to expand their outdoor dining into the street. We hosted the first one during Restaurant Week in October for a total of 3 times this fall, twice on Fayetteville Street, where we actually closed Fayetteville Street and the side streets for restaurants to bump out their outdoor dining. You can see some great visuals here for expanded seating, safe activation. We saw this as a great way to add activity to downtown in a really safe way and also help our downtown restaurants. We also did one pretty much all day in November on Glenwood South and got great feedback and response. So we're excited to look to do this again in the spring. So stay tuned for more details on that. We're busy planning now, and so we will be launching that program later this spring when the weather's a little bit warmer. Another way we've worked to add vibrancy in downtown is through our public art program. We've invested a great deal in public art this year as a way to, of course, support local artists, but also beautify downtown Raleigh and enhance connectivity in some of those areas that could use a pop of color. So we have new First Friday murals around downtown that are in various districts. These were finished in late September. So they're still fairly new, done by local artists. This is a way to bring awareness to our First Friday program. So each one has a little sign next to it with a QR code, encouraging you to go check out the website for First Friday to learn what's going on that month or upcoming month. These are really fun murals, very interactive. There's one on Glenwood South where you can pretend to walk a dog or get candy out of a candy machine. So they're fun on the human scale, interactive, Instagrammable murals. So I encourage you to check those out. Another way, and this kind of bridges the public art and activations, we hosted a Halloween art walk where we worked with local artists to put these Halloween themed chalk murals on the sidewalk. So we created sort of this festive trail to explore downtown. We also connected it with local businesses. So encourage people to go to Videri, get a Halloween treat, get your photo by this giant latte chalk mural. Go to Cupcake Shop and get your photo by the jack-o'-lantern mural and grab a cupcake as well. So it was also a way we saw to support local businesses and something fun to do during the holiday. Lastly, our brand new mural is our Essential Workers mural by Gina Franco, which is at the corner of Fayetteville and Martin Street. So this is really cool, really proud of it. I encourage you to go check that out. It's a huge pop of color on that corner. One way we've pivoted our events and activations over the last 9 months has been to decentralize our events. So I've already mentioned several of the trails that we've created. So our Illuminate Art Walk is another example of those. This is happening now and it runs through January 8th. We actually have a really cool projection piece that will be up through Saturday evening. So that's kind of a fun bonus to illuminate happening now. So we have 18 light-based art installations in storefronts around downtown. We have a great map on our website for you to easily create the self-guided tour. Many of those installations are some are interactive and kid-friendly, so there's kind of something for everybody. So we're really proud of that. It's a great way to support local artists and add some foot traffic to downtown, a reason for people to get out and explore and see something new. Our Discover Downtown tours are another program that we've shifted during this time. These have gone virtual. So these are held monthly. It's a way to highlight various developments in downtown. In person, we've also done kind of behind the scenes looks, but while virtual, we've done a bit more on the development side, which has been exciting to show some of the changes that are continuing in downtown. So if you have not, if you've missed any of these, you can check them out on our website. We've recorded them, and so the videos are still available. We have our most recent one was of 301 Hillsborough Street, which is the tower going up right there on Hillsborough as part of Raleigh Crossing. Our outdoor office continued this year, so we shifted this program a bit to make it safer, implemented many health and safety guidelines, required registration, but this was a great way to work with local partners and businesses and offer a way to activate a public space, but safely, build community, but safely. Our First Friday program continues. We moved that virtual from April until August, where we worked with 50 different artists for virtual programming, but we have been doing more in-person activities, but safe. So mural scavenger hunts, Cirque du Vol performers walking around on stilts with masks, that type of thing. So we're looking at programs and activations for 2021. And one thing that we're doing is enhancing our website. So it'll be much easier to navigate and understand what's going on First Friday. You'll be able to create your own itinerary, have that emailed to you with a map. And so we're really excited to share more about the changes coming up for First Friday in 2021. And to kick off 2021, First Friday actually will not be on First Friday. It will be on January 8th due to the holiday. So mark your calendars. And then lastly, Moore Square Market, that continued this year, started in June, ran through October. We had record number of vendors this year, which was great and wonderful way to support these local businesses and small businesses in downtown. So we are bringing it back this year, coming in May in 2021. So stay tuned for more updates on that. We're excited to continue that program. Here are some great images of Illuminate. So you can see the variety of these light-based art installations. The one on the upper right is actually interactive. So it's really fun to kind of have the balls fall around you. So there's really, you can see something for everyone and something new around the corner. There's an image of our interactive map. We also have a downloadable PDF. So if you prefer to download and print it, carry it with you, there's that option as well. Oh, and here are some beautiful images of our outdoor office. So you can see just how that transformed that beautiful space outside Union Station and how we spaced the tables. We added new greenery this year. So, you know, look for more programs like this, decentralized ways to safely activate public spaces. We're taking all of these into account as we plan for 2021. All right, well, I will hand it over to Bill, who will share more on our plans for the near term, looking ahead.
Thank you so much, Kathleen. Thank you for all that great work and really appreciate it. So this is my final slide, and then we're going to jump into Q&A here. But just wanted you to see, you know, some of the stuff we're working on. Obviously, you can see a lot of what we've done over the last few months. We're going to continue a lot of that work. So we'll keep doing our Duke Energy grants. We're going to keep trying to program storefronts with pop-up tenants. The online website we built for, you know, downtown Raleigh stores has been great. And please, you know, that's a safe way to support our businesses. So please look at that. We're continuing ways to do that. Obviously, we want to keep doing community meetings like this. On the safety side, not only will we continue our enhanced patrols, but we want to keep making connections between the Raleigh Police and the downtown Raleigh community, not only through forums like this, but through more one-on-one meetings. So if that's something your building is interested in or your business is interested in, you know, we have obviously representatives from Raleigh Police on tonight, but we're happy to make that connection for you. And we're also going to keep doing those communications and notifications to the downtown community, so you all know about when events are occurring or any sort of security information you need to know. So that's something we're going to keep working on so we can keep getting more and more people informed. And then on marketing communications, you saw a lot of the work we're doing and we'll keep doing around Dine Out Downtown and various promotions. One thing we are going to be looking to do early in the year is a lunch-oriented restaurant promotion. So because, you know, we're still at a lower level of office workers downtown and hotel visitors, our lunch places could use support. So that's something we're going to be building for early in 2021 as well. So these are some of the things we're working on. We're always open to outreach and ideas, so please don't hesitate to reach out to us. What I'm going to do is we're going to go into Q&A here. So I've gotten some questions submitted ahead of time and through our Q&A window here. So it might be good if we go into the mode where we can kind of see each other's faces, perhaps. Is that possible, or can we do that? The panelists. Okay. So can we go into panelist mode there? All right, so I got a few questions that came through early on, but I'll hit this one that's in the Q&A. Will the tall lights in City Plaza be fixed? So I noticed that as well the other night. So we have submitted a question for that to the city. So one of the light pillars looks like it's still struggling a little bit. So we'll follow up on that. And is there anything that can be done to reduce contractors marking utilities on sidewalk art? So thank you for raising that. And in fact, the architect of our sidewalk art program, the wonderful Jen Baker, is on here. So I think that's been highlighted, and we'll make sure to follow up on that as well. But thank you for that, because we have great sidewalk art in downtown. So a few other questions. Captain Gunner, I got a question here for Raleigh Police. He asked about if you all currently have Raleigh Police patrolling on foot in downtown, any information you can share about that.
Oh yeah. So we've got what's called transit officers who are specifically assigned to the Moore Square area, and also encompassing the Fayetteville Street footprint, as well as the transit facility. In addition to that, we have officers that work extra duty shifts specifically for Moore Square and transit. So at any given time, there are anywhere from 2 to 5 officers specifically assigned. It may not always be on foot, but I'd say that unless there's inclement weather, the vast majority of what they're doing is the traditional foot bicycle patrol within that footprint of downtown. And certainly we would like to increase that as well. And as we're able to shift our manpower around, or for special needs, such as the Dine Out Raleigh events that you did, we were able to shift additional personnel down there for specific events when we could forecast that there'd be a larger crowd down there. So we're certainly down there and have no intentions of letting up, and hopefully be able to increase as more manpower gets allocated.
All right, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. We have a question here about any changes in how the businesses are doing downtown. So I mentioned, obviously, I walked you through the sales trends. So we have seen sales increase some. We saw them increase 20% month over month in the fall. I would say that businesses are doing better on weekends. So we have seen pretty good weekends, particularly when the weather's good. Our weekdays, again, because we don't have the same type of traffic always on weekdays, that's where we could use more support for our businesses. So, that would be helpful. That's why we're going to build that promotion around that. Eric, we got a question for you. Someone asked if you foresee any changes in the near term for transit in terms of either frequencies or the experience.
Absolutely. So, and I mentioned that today was a big news day, and I didn't say exactly why. We got notice of the full funding award for the Newbern BRT project today from Federal Transit Administration. So that's a big influx of cash that'll match up against the money that we've got set aside that comes from our half-cent sales tax for transit. That 2016 transit referendum was really transformational for us because it set the framework not just for how to pay for the expansion of the system, but really to reorient how we operate transit in the city. So we just finished all the work with Go Raleigh Station to be able to handle the additional capacity. What you're going to start to see is more of the frequent network that we're going to build out that starts to look at concentrating. Before, our old system really tried to serve everybody, and it's sort of like spreading peanut butter. Everybody gets a little bit. What we're really trying to do is to make our transit system more frequent and more reliable, and that means that we're going to concentrate some of that transit in several key corridors. And so right now, I think the only corridors in the city today that have 15-minute service are Newbern Avenue Capitol Boulevard, and I want to say parts of the South Saunders corridor. We're going to expand that footprint up to about an 81-mile set of corridors across the city. And so you really see those changes roll out. We started doing our first implementation in 2017 with a 10-year horizon for doing all of our implementation. And those changes are coming on an incremental basis now.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And it's great news about the big money we got today for BRT. That's really cool. That's awesome. I got a question here about affordable housing. So obviously affordable housing's a hot topic. And so the question wasn't real specific, but it asked about affordable housing in the downtown area. That's something we're very supportive of. So the good news is there was a $90 million affordable housing bond passed on the most recent ballot in November. So that will provide a lot more resource. And we're hopeful that we can see a diversity of housing and some, new housing in downtown that is accessible. So we're hopeful that those funds can be used at least partially in downtown to help with that. But we know that that's certainly an issue. The housing market in this whole region has been really, really intense. So that's a major, major issue, and that is something we are supportive of as an organization. I also got a question here about reopenings and how that's going to sort of proceed in downtown. So for the most part, a lot of our businesses are open in some capacity. What we do on our website is we do update those. So we have a COVID resource page that you can go to. So we try to track all of our businesses, how they're open. So we track, if they do curbside, online, takeout, things like that. So a lot of them are open in some capacity, but not all of them. And frankly, a lot of it is tied to, how far we get with controlling the virus. So if we can start to get vaccinations out and we can start to get those numbers down, you're going to see more and more businesses reopen. A big thing that will also dictate that is when office workers start to return downtown. We talk to our office tenants all the time. That is very much tied to vaccine getting out into the world and people feeling comfortable coming back to work. So we're in close contact with them. When we start to see those lights kind of come back on more, that's something we communicate out to our businesses. And we have seen some workers return over the course of the year, but that will be very much tied to the vaccine. In the near term, we do have those curbside parking zones, which have been tremendous support for our businesses. So those will continue, and outdoor dining will continue as well in the near term for sort of safe ways to help support our businesses. Okay, let's see other questions that have come in. We have a question here. So Eric, we have a question for you also about if you could reiterate, I know you mentioned this a little bit in your presentation about connecting to Chavis Park and that greenway. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, and I'll probably go back to my map for that if that's okay. Probably the easiest thing to do. So yeah, so part of our challenge right now is how, with the expansion of Tortilla Dix Park, fundamentally, what do we do to connect that better into downtown? And so there's really limited options in this area. Western Boulevard, MLK is probably the most direct, but really is probably the worst environment for having a successful and comfortable type of set of facilities that is accessible to everybody. You can get there today if you try hard with the greenway system, but it's real circuitous. So we looked at both the South Street and the Lenore Street corridors as far as ways to look at that enhancement. And like I said before, when people had the choice as part of the Dreamville Festival coming out of downtown, most everybody took Lenore Street to South Saunders Street. And we've already got some of that infrastructure in place along South Saunders. There'll be some changes down here that take place with Lake Wheeler and South Saunders as part of the proposed Park South development. We're going to work with them on making some improvements and linkages here. But really, Lenore Street kind of fits a lot of the bill that we need, especially getting all the way across and connecting into the Chavis corridor directly. I think it's supposed to be the Chavis Greenway here in the north end of Chavis Park. So that's more than likely what we're going to end up doing. We've got some public outreach that's planned for the spring. Obviously, until we're in a better situation with COVID, all of our public outreach is going to be virtual, but we're going to reach out to folks in the corridor, folks in the community, and talk through some ideas on the types of changes we can look at for making those improvements.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eric. Captain Gunner, we got a question about the Acorn unit. Can you talk a little bit about what the Acorn unit is and any timeline for that being operational in the downtown area?
Yeah, absolutely. So Acorn is a unit that is being affiliated with the police department, and it will have 3 officers, one of which will be a detective, a supervisor, and in addition to the sworn officers, we'll have 3 certified social workers. So the intention is it's a citywide unit, not specific to downtown, like Ms. Darlene is with DRA. However, much of their work is going to take place downtown. A lot of our at-risk population occupies the downtown footprint, certainly with COVID going on and the lack of resources that are out there. You know, there's no time, I don't think, that there's been more need for some outreach and assistance to that population than now. So there's already a member on it, and they are trying to get this thing up and running operational by January, and that's just a few weeks off. So right now they're working about getting the jobs posted for the civilian portion of this. And I know that's right around the corner. I think they want to post it right after the holidays. And they're still in the process of finding where their actual office space is going to be. They will not be located in a traditional police HQ or district house. They'll have their own. And their intent is to do just like Darlene is, and that is to specifically try to assist with our at-risk population, try to get them some resources so that the domino effect is a positive one on both the businesses, residents, and our at-risk population. So it is moving as I speak, and by the beginning of 2021 or early 2021, they want to have it completely operational and running.
Great. Thank you so much, Captain Gunner. I got a question about helping support bringing down people downtown in our tourism. So I think you can see in some of the work that Kathleen walked through, Dine Out Downtown is a big part of that. We're going to bring that back in the spring. So that's where we close the streets and let restaurants operate in those. We're going to continue to do promotions like we're doing with the Modified Restaurant Week promotion. We'll do another one of those in early 21. And then another thing we're doing is we do have a big marketing campaign planned. So we have been working on a big marketing campaign that we'll be pulling out in late winter, early spring, as it gets safer for people to come downtown and to come, out because of vaccines. We'll be rolling that out as well. And so that's something we're really excited about. We put a lot of work into that. So we're going to continue to do those activations. We'll also be doing more Square Market. We're going to be doing that on the weekends from now on, which is really exciting. So we've got our activations and our promotions that we're doing, as well as a marketing campaign that we're preparing for next year. So we are excited about that. Our final question I get is, how can we help the businesses? There isn't really any other way to say it, but finding a way to support them safely. So we don't want you to do anything that goes against public health regulations or makes you feel unsafe, but as much as possible, if you're able to do takeout, if you're able to buy gift cards, but certainly if you can find a way to support them at the end of the day, that's what will help keep them here. We got to do so in a safe way, but they absolutely need your support. And so, we have a lot of great businesses downtown. We are overwhelmingly locally owned. These are some of the businesses you think of when you think of Raleigh. And so we really hope that you all will continue to support them. We know our downtown residents have done a tremendous job of that. Our downtown residents deserve a lot of credit for helping support these businesses over the last 9 months. And so we hope we continue to bring other folks downtown to help support them as well. So that's a big part of what we're trying to do. You can see that in our work and our promotions. But that's how we do it, is we have to be able to find a way to support them. If you're doing your holiday shopping, please do it with downtown stores. Again, we have that online resource where you can do so and purchase through online, or you can use our gift guides as well. So we've got a lot of resources. We're working really hard. You can see the city, our partners here, are also focused on downtown. We know it's been a really challenging year. We're right here with you. We live downtown, we work downtown. We know how it's been. So we're really proud of our community. We're really proud of the resilience of our community. We're proud of the people here, and we got to hang on and stick together here through the winter. The light is there at the end of the tunnel. We got a little ways to go, but we're working really hard to make sure you guys are safe, that you're secure, that you have businesses, that you have activations, and we're keeping our downtown community together. So those are all the questions we have. I want to thank all of our panelists from City of Raleigh. Thank you, Eric Lamb, Rich Marks, Captain Gunner. Thank you to Kathleen and Kimberly on my team for all your great work. And we really appreciate you all tuning in. We want to thank our investors. These are some of the investors who make this possible and allow us to do this work. So we really want to thank them as well. They've been tremendously supportive during a really tough time and stepped up. So thank you all again, and we appreciate it. Have happy holidays. Thank you.